Hi there, everyone out there in YouTube land. Hope you are doing well. Smarty here. It's been a while. First off, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's been tuning in to our weekly streams. Myself and Alan from Let's Talk Metal greatly appreciate it. And a couple weeks off. Had friends in town. Want to spend some time with them. So Fridays haven't worked out last couple weeks, but I think we're going to be planning on shooting more content this coming Friday. So check that out. Hopefully we'll have a special guest with us. And other than that, this video, long time coming. I've got a pretty big stack of stuff to talk about here. And this is a theme video revolving around power metal, which is something I've been listening to a great deal lately. It has, I know Matt from Over at the Dark Path mentioned this, but his words ring true. I've been really maintaining a foul mood for the last, well, you know, we shouldn't have to explain ourselves. I think we've all been feeling a bit down and out with the whole pandemic stuff and all that good shit. But I'm trying to be proactive, and since I'm not going to therapists, I am listening to power metal. It picks up my spirits a bit, and it has been really refreshing. I've kind of gotten a bit burnt out on, you know, your stereotypical demons, darkness, and brutality of the black and death metal worlds. Again, I'm not listening to those genres anymore, but I'm just very much been finding a bit of peace in the power metal, traditional metal realms. And this is a stack of music I've acquired over the last few months, 3 months, 4 months, maybe more. Been spending a lot of time with these albums, some more so than others. Some folks have sent some of these in, which is completely kind. Thank you so much. I just want to take a couple minutes and share with you guys what I've been going through and what I've been going through musically. And yeah, and at the end of this, should you get to the end of this, what are some bands I should check out? I mean, I've listened to traditional metal and power metal my entire life, but, you know, it's much like any genre. There is millions and millions of bands, and I've, you know, assessing the damage here, going through this stack, there's a ton of German stuff in here that I'm going to be talking about, which I think I'm finding that I really, really like German power metal, or German influenced power metal the most, which is always, you know, that's been a thing for me since my teens. But yes, anyway, let's dig into this stack. There's a pretty good chunk of stuff here to talk about, but I was dinging around on the Nuclear Blast website one day, watching random videos, and the song Above the Sky, the self-titled from the self-titled album, the title track from the album Above the Sky from Sweden's Majestica, kind of kicked my ass. It features Tommy Ringseed, who is a guitar player, long blonde hair guy, guitar player in the band Sabaton. So you're going to know him from there. But he sings and is the lead shredder in this band. This came out in 2019 on Nuclear Blast. This band has been together for 21 years. And they've got 2 albums out. They've got this, which is their debut, and they have a Christmas album, which, even if this is the best thing in the world, I am not going to spend fucking money on a Christmas album. I'm sorry. I'm not rolling in that direction at all. But this is a very solid power metal album. Tommy's vocals are quite good. He's got a soaring operatic pipes. His guitar playing is exceptional. This maintains an aggressive power metal stance, other than tracks like Motley True and Night Call Girl, which adopt more of a sleazy, glammy type of persona, which kind of kills it for me. So I wish they could have maintained the power metal spirit throughout this. They had to, you know, tip their hat. Apparently that's an influence for them, or because it's on this album. Kind of detracts away from the full enjoyment. The think the Rat Pack was kind of leaning in that direction too, but Motley Crue and Night Call Girl were. But for the most part, this is a good album. I'm not listening to that Christmas album. I don't care how good you tell me it is. I'm not doing it. Check out Majestica. Pretty good stuff. By Fire and Sword. Here, I got notes, so I'm going to be reading off some notes. This is a gift from Brian Arkham. Check out his channel. Brian Arkham's channel. It's great. Older dude, tells it like it is with a lot of stuff. Listens to a nice variety of things. Shows a nice variety of things. He sent a package. I was going to show the whole package, but I've been listening to this, and it fit in with this stack of music, so I figured I'd talk about it. But by Fire and Sword, they are, I forgot to check where they're from. I think they're a U.S. band. They have a U.S. sound. This is an EP. Production's a bit muddy. It sounds a little underproduced, like maybe it's a self-financed type of deal, although they're on a label, which is so small I can't read it because I'm going blind. Listening to the lyrics, a lot of Christian overtones. In fact, the Metal Archive says the topics are fantasy and religion. Yeah, and the positive Jesus-y type lyrics kind of rang through on this, which I'm not going to sit here and bag on it for that. It's not a deterrent. The songs were well written. The vocalist has got a clean but gruffer style of singing. It's quite good. It might dip into some doom qualities here and there. Maybe Trouble was a bit of a influence, but they've, many years removed. It's very much a modern doom / traditional power-ish type metal conglomeration. It's good. I mean, I would like to hear maybe a little better production, but interesting to see what else they do. This came out in 2019. I mentioned that, and they don't have a lot on their Metal Archives page, so I don't know really where they're at with their development. Next one from Hamburg, Germany. I've shown these guys before. I've tracked down more of their albums, and I think I've got them all except maybe one in a 7-inch. But Storm Warrior. I've got 3 here. I've got Heathen Warrior. I've got Thunder and Steel. And their latest 2019 release is Norseman. This band started out, their first album is by far their best album, the self-titled album Storm Warrior. Sounds like Walls of Jericho era Halloween. They're fantastic. In fact, go on YouTube and type in Storm Warrior Ride the Sky. They're playing a big festival, and Kai comes out and sings it. And they completely nail the music note for note, perfection. In fact, they've done a lot of stuff with Kai, and Kai co-produced that first Storm Warrior album and did some singing on it, contributed some stuff to it. So there's like a friendship there. These guys have got a bunch of records. I will say these are all really good. They're not as good as their debut. Let's go here first. Let's start a little drinking game. Get yourself some whiskey, get a shot, and every time this band says the word warriors, not as in warrior, but warriors as in more than one, do a shot. By song 2, you're probably going to be irreparably damaged by the whiskey that you drink. But anyway, these guys are great. A lot of twin guitar harmonies, very German sounding in their power metal, borderline speed metal. I mean, they start out very speed metal focused. They adopted more of a power metal, and they've kind of shifted their themes to Viking mythology. This is a good album. All 3 of these are really well produced. Very cool cover art there. But this one, their latest, wow. I mean, musically, this is probably one of the most developed and better albums they've done as far as the music goes. What's the guy's name? Bear with me here for a minute while I access my sheet. Lars Ramke, vocalist. He also plays guitar. He sounded very much like Kai Hansen in the early days. On the first album, I mean, he completely nails. They've completely doppelganged the early Halloween sound, which is fine because it's not quite often done. I think a lot more people try to emulate the more power metal Keeper albums. But as he's gone on, I don't know if he's losing his voice and he's struggling to get to where he wants to be, but some of these albums, he kind of sounds like a Muppet. Sometimes he hits it right, sometimes it just seems a little weird. The vocals have been sort of an adjustment for me. I still like them because, you know, he still kind of sounds like Kai. He just sounds like he's struggling a bit more, which is, it still remains true on this. Although he stays in key. Everything sounds good, but man, the music on this album is so good. It's, you know, forgivable to look past a struggling vocalist, but these guys are great. Storm Warrior's a great band. None of these albums were particularly cheap. I've gotten 5 or 6 of their albums. None of them were cheap. None of them were under $20, which is fucking annoying, but what are you going to do? And when a band clicks with you, I mean, Collector Scum, you know, the page out of the playbook is to just go right down the line. Like I said, I'm only missing 1 or 2. So I'm almost there, but check these out. They're quite good. Get your whiskey ready and your shot and prepare to get shit hammered with the Warriors. But yes, check out Norseman. Out of those 3, Norseman is probably musically the most advanced and really, really well written. Next up, we've got, okay, let me adjust this. A band, I've always had this CD. This was sent as a promo back in the day. This is Dark Assault by Iron Savior. This came out in 2001. It's their 3rd album. The claim to fame for this band is Kai Hansen was on their first few albums. 3rd album he's still on. He's still in this band. In fact, I think you can see him right there. Right there. So yes, and the main guy in this band, his name is Pete, Piet Silk, Sielck, Silk. I've heard that initially him and Kai were friends going way back to the early days of Halloween, and he was perhaps going to be picked as Halloween's first singer, but something didn't work out. His life got busy or something changed. He was unable to do it. So Kai obviously went on with Halloween, and Pete went on and started eventually Iron Savior, which is their first album. My buddy S. Craig Zoller sent this to me, along with The Landing. But we're going to start with this here first. This is straight up, well-written, excellent speed metal with a bit of power metal leanings on Noise Records. And this came out in 97, which, you listen to this album, it seems like it should have come out earlier. It has more of a late 80s sound to it. But, man, the songs on this are so good. The Arrival, Atlantis Falling, Riding on Fire, Break It Up. Great stuff. Great speed metal, awesome solos, and the crowning achievement of this band, other than really good, well-composed songwriting, is Pete's vocals, man. He's got a gruff but melodious style. Very much a very unique style, and his the power and passion in his vocals are very much the most unique part of this band, and he's got a great voice. I'm excited to listen to this stuff. This album is good. It's not as good as the debut. Still good. This album is quite good. The Landing, this is their 2011 7th album. This does not have Kai on it. They're stripped down to a 4-piece. I think there is a dude that used to be bass player of Running Wild in here at some point. I didn't write the name down. But another great album. This is maybe a little less speed metal, leaning a little more into hard rock territories, but still maintaining the gruff, really super powerful, unique vocals. This is a good band. They've got quite an extensive discography. I don't know that I need to own all of them, but I certainly want to fill in the gaps between these 2 albums and see how they turned out. But man, this album in particular, such a rager, so good. I just want more of this speed, aggression, but melody. Never lost sight of melody. Great, powerful vocals. Excellent band. Iron Savior, another great German band. Speaking of, I blame Jürgen for this over in Germany. Rage are one of those bands that I've always liked. I don't have their debut, but I've got the 3 after it. And then I'd completely lost touch. They were always, when it comes to thrash, they were always very, I don't want to say strange, because, ultimately they're not doing anything different from anybody else in the German thrash metal scene, but their songs always struck me as a little bit clunky, other than amazing choruses. It seems like one of those bands that knew how to write a super catchy, awesome chorus, but all the stuff leading up to it seemed a little bit more forced. I don't know if that's a good way to say it. Doesn't mean I didn't like the band. I really, in particular, like the 2 tracks. One is on Doomsday News 1 and Doomsday News 2. I don't think either of those were released other than on those comps. But I wanted Rage to be like those 2 songs, and they were, but they weren't quite as good. But Jürgen did a Rage video here not too long ago. Go check it out. Go look up Jürgen Altman. He's got a great channel, an amazing collection, super nice dude too. But he showed off a couple things that I haven't heard, and this is one of them, Rage Trapped. I got lucky and snagged a noise copy online for a relatively good price. I think this is like getting close to being one of the last albums of the original lineup. But this album is great. I don't want to sit here and call it power metal, because it's not straight up power metal. It's not straight up thrash. It's like power metal and thrash kind of mixed together with a traditional metal feel. The choruses, Peavy is an amazing chorus writer. Super, super catchy. Solitary Man, Medicine. It's just so well written. Heavy, quick, smart. The songwriting really smoothed out on this. I know there's a couple albums. The last album I had previously by this band was Secrets in a Weird World, which to me had some really good songs on it, but that album never really click with me. And between that album and this album, there was a couple other releases. I think an EP and a couple full lengths. Not for sure on that. But this album is really, really well done. Super good. Every song on here, super well written. Peavy's vocals are strong. You can, hear what he's saying perfectly. Very melodious, but rough. And this is a great album. Jürgen said this is one of his favorites. He also brought up The Missing Link as another one of his favorites, which Trapped came out in 1992 on Noise. And on Noise and Rough Trade, The Missing Link came out in 1993. So a year difference. I believe it's the same lineup. And again, it's a nice continuation of Trapped. Again, really super strong choruses. I don't like it as much as Trapped. I think the songs maybe aren't as powerful, but it's a very, very minor downtick. The songs are still really good. And I've listened to these a lot since I've got them. Thank you again, Jürgen, for mentioning this stuff. And I'm going to have to definitely research the holes in my collection and find out what else works. But both of these are great. If you are not familiar with Rage, check them out. If you're like me and started off strong with them and then kind of lost touch, definitely at very least check out Trapped. You will not be disappointed if you're open-minded and like a unique twist of multiple heavy metal styles. Next up, per Alan's suggestion, I got the second album, Aeronautics, by Germany's Masterplan, which many of you know is Roland Grappow from He Wasn't Halloween through their, I think he jumped on with them on Pink Bubbles Go Ape and stayed with them through Better Than Raw. He's a great songwriter. He was perfect for Halloween. They had some sort of problem falling out. He started Masterplan, the debut album by them. The self-titled debut is great. This album is just as great. There's a couple songs that maybe kind of a little leaning into more of a glammy territory, but it's so minor and it really doesn't matter because their singer Jorn Land or Landa. Wow. I mean, this guy has got such a powerful, bluesy, raspy, but melodic voice. He sounds like the dude from Foreigner, but more of a heavy metal take on it. I really enjoy the songwriting on the first two Master Plan albums. This Aeronautics is really well done. Don't really have much to say other than I've listened to it a lot. I love Jorn's vocals, man. He really sells. He takes a song that's decent and makes it fantastic. Like even, those little glam metal, flourishes that come here and there. Just the pure rasp, even some of the rhymey lyrics that typically bug me. The way he's singing the phrases, it really makes me forget about any of that stuff. This is a good band. I hear that there's been some changes, some vocalist changes. I don't know how that's going to impact. I don't know how further I'm going to go after this album, but the self-titled debut and Aeronautics, this one, completely, strongly recommend. Very good stuff. Okay, next up, I don't know if I've shown these or not. I'm slowly trying to fill in the Blind Guardian collection. I had this album when it came out. It was sent to me as a promo with the jewel case and everything, and I stupidly at some point got rid of it. This is Blind Guardian Live, a Bard's Tavern. 2 CD set. It's great. The production's great. The performance is great. The song selection's great. Valhalla, Majesty, Mordred's song, the Bard's song, Lost in the Twilight Hall. Great shit. Great sound. Great band. Highly recommend it. And I got 2006, A Twist in the Myth, which this one has taken me a few spins to get into. It's not quite as good as the ones that came before it. But the more I've spun it, I've kind of gotten over that. I mean, it's still, even a so-so Blind Guardian album still sounds like Blind Guardian. It's still good. I mean, would I get this over the early 5 albums? No. But check this out. And Beyond the Red Mirror, I can't remember what year this came out. 2015. This is within the last decade. And again, did it blow me away? No, but I did enjoy it. It seems like they're a little more aggressive on this one. Yet it's still very symphonic, and they're trying to go for a theatrical feel in the storytelling. It's Blind Guardian. I mean, these 3 CDs, I would say get the live one first. It could be like a greatest hits, essentially, but it's really well done. This came out in 2003 on Century Media. Very cool. We're getting there, guys. Halfway through. Next up, Hammerfall. 1997. I was writing for several publications. Glory to the Brave was sent in with a massive hype campaign behind it. I'm a type of guy that typically more people rant and rave about something, the less I want to hear it. I know it sounds stupid, and it is stupid. I'm not gonna sit here and say that makes any fucking sense. But this was also very much at a time when I was listening to tons of Norwegian black metal and black metal in general. I didn't give a shit. I mean, I liked traditional metal back then. I just was not in the mood for it. And this album is the epitome of power metal. European power metal, very much sucking at the teat of Halloween's Keeper albums. But this is a Swedish band. It's got members of Crystal Age, Ceremonial Oath, and Jesper Stromblad played drums, who was in Flames. Played drums on this. I hated it then. I gave it away. And I listen to it now, and I think, what the fuck was I thinking? It's a great album. This is a reissue, I'm sure of it. Yeah, this is a 2011 reissue. So there's an enhanced section to this. There's video clips and a photo gallery and a bunch of shit that I'll never fucking plug in and check out. But man, this is a great album. I really kind of kicked myself for getting rid of it. I mean, I've done that so much over the years. I think anybody that has access to a lot of new music and a big collection. You know, I became real apathetic to some stuff. I'd have friends come over. I'd have a box of stuff. I'm like, you can't leave unless you take 5 CDs out of that box. And that's probably what happened to this first pressing promo that I got. But this is great stuff. European power metal perfection, done by Swedes. And the second album, Legacy of Kings. This album was sent to me by my buddy Ben's Brain Smasher. I forgot to talk about it in the last video, the VCLT video. It was in my car when I did that. And this remained in my car for some weeks. I get why he didn't like it. It really isn't his wheelhouse, but it's maybe not as good as a debut, but it's a solid power metal record. I don't know if Jesper is still in the band at this point. I don't think he lasted more than an album, but it's a great album. I don't really have much to say other than they maintain good songwriting skills within a European power metal formula, and they don't stray from it probably for the rest of their career, which I will slowly pick away on it. Next up, this was a recommendation from Alan. On one of our streams, he brought up Kamelot, The Fourth Legacy, and said how it's one of his favorite albums. And I should check it out. So I checked it out. Paid way too much money for this. This is noise, but does anybody own this? I'm asking. Look how pixelated. I don't know if it's going to focus, but especially here where it's the Fourth Legacy on the top, it's like really kind of, I don't know. The pictures are kind of mossy. I don't know. I hope I paid $25 for this. I'm hoping it's an OG press. It says Sanctuary and Noise. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is the band's fourth album. Came out in 1999. This was admittedly a bit more elegant than I was anticipating, to be honest. But that's not a bad thing. It's very much traditional / power metal with heavy on the keyboards and theatrics. Super great, clean vocals. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's got a sweet mullet. I see why Alan really liked this, and it took me 4 or 5 listens before I fully began to appreciate it. I'm definitely going to check out Epica and some of the other albums that came out around this to see what the progression was. I'm sure if you're more familiar with the band than I am, kind of point me in the direction. And I'm not going to spend over $25 for an album like this again. I'll just wait until something turns up. But this is a keeper for sure, and really good, solid, very symphonic, very soundtrack-ish as far as it seems like the album plays out like a movie. Not that it's like soundtrack music. It's still very much heavy metal, straight up heavy metal, super neoclassical solo work mixed with very powerful, punchy keyboard lines. It's really good. Like I said, it kind of struck me as a bit more elegant. There's the softer, cleaner segments seem very very passionate, and these guys are really good at dynamics. Very theatrical, good stuff. Check it out. We're getting down here. Next up, we've got 4 albums by Sweden's Blazing Stone. I'm missing a couple, but Storm Spell had a sale, and I love me some Running Wild, and basically Sweden's Blazing Stone are copying the pirate metal era, Death or Glory, Under Jolly Roger, stuff like The Rivalry, Pile of Skulls, Masquerade. All these albums are very much huge influence on this band. They're basically a tribute band. They're trying musically to sound exactly like the compositions and the vocals stylings of Rock and Rolf from Running Wild. Not a bad thing. It seems like there should be more people trying to copy that greatness. But did I even write the dates down? Let me see here. I did not, but this is the second album. No Sign of Glory. This is probably my favorite of the batch. War of the Roses is also quite good. There's a little bit of a vocal change between here. I don't know if they had different singers or what. Down in the Dark. And the last, Return to Port Royal. This came out in 2020, I believe, or 2021. It was either this year or last year. And this is Return to Port Royal Definitive Edition. Basically, this is a complete reworking of the debut album, Return to Port Royal. They re-recorded some stuff, remastered, all that good stuff, and it's good. It's just a reworking of their first album. So I don't really know that I need the first album, so I think I'm only missing one in here. I'm going to have to get on their site and look. But again, very studious rendition of the Running Wild formula. They nail it. I think Rock and Roll has a better vocal style, but they do their best to emulate that for sure. Again, if you got to listen to one, I would say this War of the Roses, No Sign of Glory, sorry. Probably my favorite. I've only spun each of these once, maybe twice. I need to spend more time with them, but they're kind of a one-trick pony. I mean, I think they're riding a thoroughbred. So, I mean, they're going to emulate something. They did a really good job. The music is spot on, really super melodic, fast, plodding, galloping. Sometimes it sounds like a drum machine. I've never really looked to see. I think there's a lot of drum machine on here, although the band does play live. So, maybe they record with a drum machine and have a real drummer for the live stuff. I don't know. But this is a good band if you're into the pirate metal era of Running Wild. And next up, we've got two by, also on Storm Spells Records. This is Warrior Path. This is the debut, the self-titled debut, and this is their latest, 2021. Is that when this came out? Yes. The Mad King. I bought both of these CDs because of the Mad King. Basically, this is a Greek project. Andreas, I'm going to butcher this, Sinaglou. I don't know. He is the main guy, the main songwriter for this band. Writes all the stuff. This first album had a different singer. This new album has got Daniel Hyman from Lost Horizon. Remember him? Remember that awesome, amazing band? So yeah, I heard that. I heard he was singing on this. Previewed a couple tracks. Was instantly sold. Sounds like a less awesome Lost Horizon, but this is still really good. Expertly written, power metal with a Greek sense of melody, which is also on this debut album, Warrior Path. This is just as good. The first half of this album is really quite good. I really like the guitar work on it. I like some of the songs, and the singer doesn't bother me. It just, about the halfway point, some of the songs have kind of a glammy feel to them, a little more fragile, dynamic. Kind of lost power as this went on. Because of that, I've only spun it like twice. But again, starts strong, ends kind of weak. Gets a little bit long too. Oh, that's one other thing. Out of all these Blazing Stone albums, they all get a little long. They could have probably cut, like this album's got 10 songs on it. It could have been 8 and it'd probably been fine. They're all kind of that way. They're very long. They either go 10 to 12 songs on them. It's crazy. But anyway, this is kind of the same fare. It gets a bit long and it runs out of steam, gets a little fragile sounding. But this one, if you're into Lost Horizon, check out the Mad King. Daniel still sounds amazing. Really adds a lot of class and depth to this album. Very good stuff. Check out Warrior Path. They're also on Storm Spell Records. And lastly, I think I've talked about this album once before. And at the time I checked it out, I wasn't in the mood and it didn't really resonate well with me. But this is another one that Zahler sent me quite a while ago, but came out in 2006. It's Zandel Vengeance Rising. It's the third album by this band. They're from New York. It's heavy. It's power metal, but on the more American heavy side, if that makes any sense. Very melodic, earthy vocals, but not the soaring operatic kind. He's just kind of a mid-range, earthy singer. Flash in the horns, and had a electrical tape mishap over here on his arm, but he lives to rock another day. Multiple listens. This is quite a good album. Again, it's a very American sounding, which I'm fine with. I tend to gravitate more towards a European sound when it comes to power metal. But, you know, I started off loving the early years of the U.S. sound, power metal, Omen, Fate's Warning, all that good stuff. But these guys are good. Is this a mind-blowing album? No. Is it super pristine production? No. It's maybe just a half a step below that. But, I mean, this is a good album. Well-written songs. There's a shit ton of songs on here. 11 songs. Produced by Zandel. Well, there you go. They recorded it in their basement. It kind of shows, but it doesn't detract away from the enjoyment. If you're into power metal, you're probably going to like this album. But that's it. I made it through. It was quite a stack, and it has been quite a while. Thank you again, everybody, for your patience. And we will be back this coming Friday, I'm hoping, with a new discussion video. They've been a lot of fun. I'm glad you've all been enjoying them. And hope you're doing well. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to you later on. See ya.